Hello, and welcome to my first of a few solo trips I have planned this year. I am back here in Oregon, probably about the same time last year I was here in mid-March, and it's in the mid-70s, so it's going to reach mid-70s, and I'm back in the John Day region. I just happen to really love this region. New area, the Spring Basin Wilderness. There's no maps at the trailhead information. They're all gone. The only thing left in there is one of the freeze-dried meal packet thingies, so food doesn't go bad. So I don't know if someone put that in there so the maps didn't go bad, but there are no maps. They're all gone. So I just got a satellite image on my phone, and not much to know about this place. Just gonna start walking around and see what it's all about. The biggest issue is probably going to be finding water. I got filled up on water and filled up my water bottle. So that's going to be the biggest hurdle of the day, is just making sure there's water. But you think of a place called Spring Basin Wilderness, there's going to be some springs. So yeah, let's take a look at this place. In my search for water, I gotta keep an eye out for really green spots like that. That tends to be where water is bubbling out of the ground sometimes, not all the time. But trail seems to be heading somewhere in this area. I think that's where I top out. It's not going to be a plateau, it's going to be a lot up and down today. So when I do find a spring, I'm going to give myself the rule of finish one bottle of water, then fill up another. If I do come across one. Nothing up this canyon. Intersected a trail. I don't think I saw this on Caltopo's map, but can't remember if that was the high point or this guy here. Get more views the higher I get anyway, and I may actually be able to do the clockwise. The reason I seem to want to do clockwise is it seemed more watery on the satellite image that way. But who knows? Let's just keep moving. Getting serenaded by the meadowlarks. See the other trailhead's trail coming up through that canyon. And I'm on this guy, which means I am on that loop trail, and I am heading clockwise. You can see it gained some elevation up to this little mountain here. Really pretty. But you gotta remember, our main objective is keeping our eye out for water. There's none up here. There might be some down low, but we can't get too dehydrated and drop down into a canyon that we have to work our way back out of and hike back to the car if we got no water. That would be not fun. There's something sparkling right there. Let's go take a look at it. Could just be some litter. I don't think it's anything historical or wagon trainy. Well, a lot of good history of like the Oregon desert and homesteading. Follow Coyote Works on YouTube. He does Jeep overland camping. He finds a lot of old homesteads, a lot of cool artifacts and stuff. The direction I came from. See the road. I think it's a Clarno unit of the John Day National Monument right there, I think. And this way is off looking to the wilderness, which I'm heading into. So I've been walking along these fence posts. There's a sign back there saying on the other side of these posts belongs to the reservation. But it kind of just vanishes around here. I'm just gonna keep assuming everything in that direction's on that reservation. I'm gonna start cutting back this way. See a little pass right there. Get over there. It still should be in the wilderness area, I'd imagine. The trail just kind of vanished in this section. Well, I'm assuming these cliff faces, at least cut right here, is on that reservation land I can't go on. So I may have to actually taking it in. This is all really dry up here and I'm almost out of water. I think Mother Nature might change up my trip plans a bit. See, there's a valley exit out that way with a river for worst case scenario. But I may drop down into this canyon here and start looking for water. I know there's a very clear exit down that way I saw where the John Day is sitting. I saw it sparkling. But I see a lot of green down there, so I wonder if there's some puddles left over. So yep, that's the plan right now. Drop down here. And if I don't find any water, I'm going to exit all downhill towards the John Day River. For Spring Basin, how many springs are flowing? Unless this area right here is what it's named after, Spring Basin. I wonder if all the springs are down in there. And there's only one way to find out. All right, here we go. Well, we're here on the valley floor, and now our only job is to keep going downhill looking for water. If we don't find water, we're just gonna have to exit and get some on the John Day. At that point, I don't know if there's nothing in here, if I'd fill up a water bag and come back up in here, or just loop back around to the truck. Really hot, really dry. Let's at least down here now there's some shade, and I know there's a clear exit at the end of the canyon with a very big river. So hopefully we find some in here though, because the birds and just the solitude, this is really awesome. Could also be a reason for the solitude as well, because lack of water. All right, let's go. Here's what I was talking about. It's a lot greener here. There's an old stream bed, but it is dry. I don't hear anything dripping or trickling. Hopefully move down canyon, and hopefully further down more stuff is accumulating. I'm gonna check over there where that moss and lichen's forming before I completely head down. So out here, middle of this canyon, saw no one the whole trip, ran into two really awesome people. They actually had one of the maps of the area and allowed me to take a photo of it, and gave some information on spring locations, which is really awesome of them. And yeah, so potentially save the trip there. If you guys are viewing this, good luck on your Wind River Range trip later this August. Thank you. So I cut up along here off trail. This little ridge here is really pretty. The map shows a junction at this, or a pass at this low point in a junction between this mountain and over here. Somewhere in here, the map says a spring. So I'm beelining right for that. And then if I find it and get some water in me, I'll figure out where to camp. And just like that, water. Just like that, voila. Water. The map and some helpful information goes a long ways. So to those two very friendly and awesome hikers, thank you so much. Next step, it's 4 o'clock right now. Might take a break in the shade a bit longer, and I don't know where I want to camp yet. I don't know if I want to keep hiking a bit longer towards sunset, or wanted to originally, when I came here, camp up high and over everything, but now that I've been walking around down here, initially forced down in these canyons to look for water, I kind of actually want to stay down in these canyons and camp in it. I feel surrounded by everything. There's so much bird noises. It's just very relaxing. So I got some decisions to make. Well, I'm all packed up. I'm carrying my water with me. Pack's a bit heavier now. I think I've decided to head back over that little pass slash saddle where I came from, and there's a spur trail heading up towards this area called Eagle Canyon. I might head somewhere off in there for the first night. And look at that, that's pretty cool. Yep, this is the spot. Got trees off camera there to get some shade, a lot of flat spots, and pretty cool view there, and back that way I'll show you in a second. Here we go, this will be the tent pad. Sit here in this nice shade and just move with it and watch all my surroundings. This is a really cool area. There's not so much now because I made a bunch of noise, but there's birds everywhere in here. It's really peaceful and beautiful. Got ourselves some bats flying around. I think those are the first bats of the year for me. Yep, there he goes. That's awesome. Good morning. A lot of coyotes last night. And quite the temperature swing. It definitely got to below freezing. My tent is all frosted up. That's yeah, quite the swing from upper 60s, low 70s to below freezing. All the frost. Well, made it to the junction, and now, given the time, I really took my sweet time at camp there. I may actually just go down canyon to the road and then back to the car that way instead of the extra miles up, and I might save this for another time. It still looks kind of early, but it's actually a little past 9 right now, and I want to have a full day of checking out the sites of the national monuments here that I've always driven past. And yeah, it seems like every morning I'm dragging my feet unless I have to go to work, so that's the plan. I'm just gonna head down this drainage now and see where it gets me. Well, I made it back to the road. Got a little more walking on the road, and I'm at my truck. So I'm gonna put my camera away. Oh, there's my truck. That wasn't as straightforward as I thought it was gonna be. Right when I got off that trail onto the road, about a quarter mile in, private road property sign came up, said you can't use the road. So I followed the private property line all the way up and it ended at the cliffs, and I had to go up in the cliffs, down, and just stay high above it back into here. So probably could have done the Spring Basin trail, because it probably would have taken the same amount of time, all the ups and downs I just did, trying to avoid that private property. There's my truck down there, and falling behind on time to go visit these national monuments, so run down, get going. I first need to get the fossil, get some fuel before I start driving around everywhere. And later today, I'll do a little post trip by the campfire. Well, I've made it to this campground, and this is going to be the final day. There's some really good sightseeing driving around here in the John Day region of Oregon. Really beautiful. Um, Spring Basin Wilderness Study Area, or Wilderness, whatever it is. Really cool spot. Love it. Kind of deceiving in the whole wilderness study area for being called Spring Basin. It only has like 2 or 3 springs. They're not very big or strong ones. Reminds me of a Spring Basin actually in the Willowa Mountains. I remember Aaron, Sarah, and I, once we did finish the Sentinel Traverse, I think it was, and we were able to look down into Spring Basin, and it was a desert. And then the basin next to it had tons of water flowing, so I wonder if like the cartographers or whatever it was got confused and mislabeled one basin too far, and the other one was meant to be called Spring Basin. But it's just funny how stuff like that works out. But yeah, then with areas like that, lesser known areas, especially around BLM land, there's a lot less information you could find on them, and then you have to also deal with a lot of private land surrounding the thing. And dealt with that today on the way out. Can't remember the canyon name. I exited that one canyon with the idea that it'll be quicker for me because I got a late start, quicker for me to get to the truck because it's all downhill, then I could quickly road walk instead of gaining elevation into Spring Basin. And right away, once I got to the road, walked maybe like 500 feet, and there is a private road for the next quarter mile. You're not allowed to use it, or if you get caught, $5,000 fine and all that. So I followed their fence property line on the public land to go around it, and it just kept going up and up. And then next thing you know, I was in the cliffs trying to get around this place. I finally eventually did, but it probably would have been just as fast doing the Spring Basin. I wouldn't have to do all the dumb private land skirting crap. But it is what it is. Now I know.